Okay, hi, my name is Pamela Schultzwick, and I'm going to be reading from my book, Death Becomes Us. And this is from the prologue. It would be pretty awesome to brag that I confronted death in a brave and dramatic fashion, but that would be a lie. I would never have embarked on an exploration of my biggest fear had it not been for David Foster Wallace. It's not that Mr. Wallace was my literary superhero or that his books inspired me to question the meaning of my existence. Honestly, I didn't know he existed until September 12, 2008, the day he died. I was nervously waiting for my grad school instructor to call so we could discuss the future of my MFA thesis. She had recently received my first submission, and I cringed at the thought of her slicing through my sentences with a red pen or cackling at my creative use of grammar. Not that she was a cackler, but she did intimidate me, and I wanted nothing more than to impress her. Like Band-Aid removal, I figured it was best to just get the whole uncomfortable conversation over with as quickly as possible. 10 minutes past our scheduled meeting time, I decided to take matters into my own sweaty hands. I found her number in the MFA directory and dialed it. A funeral home answered. "Oh, I'm sorry, wrong number," I said, and promptly hung up. I dialed a second time without giving it much thought. This time, there was a hint of agitation in the woman's voice. "It's me again, sorry," I apologized. I felt like a pest for interrupting this poor woman at her dismal job. I triple-checked my instructor's number and slowly pressed each digit with paranoid precision. Funeral home. I hung up without a word, scared that I'd entered the realm of prank calling and the phone authorities, whoever they were, would soon be pounding on my door. Perspiration trickled down the inside of my shirt. My interactions with teachers or anyone in a position of authority always brought on the nerves. Anyone could tell by my resume or my laughable liberal studies degree from an underachieving state college that I didn't belong in postgraduate work among professional journalists. I was pushing 40 and working in a dead-end job that involved proofreading ad copy for the phone book. And while I should have been grateful to be accepted into a writing program with such esteemed company, I simply felt like a fraud, a two-bit campfire storyteller with bits of marshmallow and melted chocolate stuck to my aging face. While my classmates tackled big-issue topics like murder, war, and immigration, I played it safe and wrote about what I knew, my quirky, neurotic self. While I waited for her call, I refreshed my inbox, eyed the clock, and checked my phone every few minutes to make sure there was still a dial tone. My two kids were upstairs, glued to the television, but I knew that at the least opportune moment they'd get bored or want to eat lunch, and Mommy's very important college time would be over. I tried to rehearse the conversation I'd be having with the teacher in my head so I could speed through it, but my thoughts kept returning to that funeral home. What kind of person would want to work there? Having recently been employed as a detention specialist in a jail, I thought I'd had a few strange jobs, but mortician made my former occupation look pedestrian. People at funeral homes touched dead people, and not just quick little taps with their pointer finger. They had prolonged contact with cold, decomposing bodies. What kind of person would subject themselves to that? When the phone rang 10 minutes later, it startled me. Instead of playing it cool and answering on maybe the third or fourth ring, I answered immediately without the pleasantries of hello or Schultzwick residence. "Do you live in a funeral home? I tried calling your house. I kept getting a funeral home." From downstairs, I could hear that SpongeBob was over and two sets of footsteps were approaching the stairs. Diana laughed as if this kind of thing was completely normal. For some reason, when I'm on the phone and someone else calls, it gets diverted to this one particular funeral home. I don't even know where they're at. My kids, Nick and Lola, stared at me expectantly from the landing. "Hold on a minute." I covered the phone with my hand. "Mommy's going to be on the phone for about an hour, and it's really important that I talk to this nice lady. Please go back upstairs." "Can we have a snack?" Lola mouthed dramatically. I nodded like a lunatic, knowing full well that both of my kids would use this phone call to their advantage. Diana apologized for her lateness. She just found out that David Foster Wallace had hung himself. She was devastated by the loss of one of her favorite writers. I was confused. Woo-woo as it sounded even to me, it felt like this call was meant to happen the way it did. Death delayed her call, while mine was diverted there by some strange cosmic hiccup of the landline phone system.